Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another edition of the Davon Lewis Show. I'm your host. I'm covering AEW Collision that just transpired this following evening. It was a great show from start to finish. I enjoyed all the hard drama, the storyline driven things that's initially leading up towards Forbidden Door, as well as great action just in general. But let's go ahead and get into the breakdown of this card. We ended up having the main event. We ended up having the international AEW champion Will Ospreay taking on Brian Cage in the main event. We also had the Continental champion Okada taking on Ultimo Guerrero in a great lucha style, but hard-hitting match just in general. I enjoyed everything about it. We also had Chris Jericho and Big Bill of the Learning Tree taking on Private Party, which was a great tag team match, but of course it had a nasty finish when it came to everything initially had transpired. We also had trios action of Samoa Joe, Shibata, and Hook taking on no other than Premier Athletes. My guys, they're keeping everything captivating and keep us interesting, and I'm enjoying everything about what they have been doing with their entrances. But they are, of course, just jobbers, fill-ins when it comes to the matches. But we know they're going to keep the L's, but they're still keeping us entertaining and they're getting them checks. So that's all that initially matter. We ended up tag team action for the women's division. We had Toni Storm, Mariah May taking on Layla Hirsch and Lady Frost. We also had trios men's action on the card as well. We had another one. The Patriarchy taking on Iron Savages as Christian led the coalition of everything into battle as they went into trios action. We also had the build up towards Forbidden Door as we had her Cesaro taking on Daddy Magic, leading up towards his match with MJF. We also had House of Black in action, which was a great general trios tag team, but initially is building up to so much more as things continue to progress with the patriarchy of things initially happened last week as they attacked Buddy Murphy. But let's go ahead and get into the nitty gritty. Everything so saucy, what you initially are here for, is for the initial results of how things initially broke down, and as well as my opinion and how things initially broke down with the results. The first initial match started off with trios action of Hook, Shibata, and Samoa Joe taking on the Premier Athletes. This match was decent for what it was. I give this match a 3.8 out of 5 stars. It was great for the finale of how initially everything broke down, as Shibata was able to pick up an armbar submission and initially tap out Tony Nese to pick up the victory for their trios team as it continues to build up, as they continue to rack up the wins, initially becoming number one contenders for the trios championships. And initially, I know the Bang Bang Gang is initially probably keeping a close eye of Samoa Joe, Shibata, and Hook, but they're going to have their hands tied with so many challenges in the win of how things initially are going to break down. Then we get ready for the next following segment of the Bang Bang Gang. Gotta love them. Gotta love everything that's captivating about them. As they initially had a backstage segment as they went into full details of talking about all the challenges that they had to deal with, including the House of Black, Samoa Joe, Shibata, and Hook, and so many other challenges as they were kind of just frustrated with the way how things initially turned out. And things are going to be looking good in the trios division. Mark my words of how things initially continue to transpire. They also even talked about initially the Owen Hart tournament, how things initially break it down as Switchblade Jay White's going to be taking on Pac, and they address and threatening Pac. But this is going to be interesting to see how things initially swing when it comes to Pac and Jay White. I look forward to for that match. And that match is truly going to deliver and give us what we initially want, is initially true pro wrestling and being an alternative when it comes to all elite wrestling. Then we initially get ready for tag team action of Chris Jericho and Big Bill of the Learning Tree. Gotta love them with their lovely waves and everything like that throughout the whole entire match as they took on Private Party. Things initially broke out and went the distant. I felt like this match went a little bit too long, but it was okay for what it was. But we had a little bit of controversy as Brian Keith got himself involved, used Bragg's knuckles, and initially knocked out Isaiah Cassidy, and Jericho was able to pick up the prone body and pick up the 1-2-3 for the initial victory. Then post-match, the heels ended up putting the beat down on Private Party for the initial beatdown. Then we had Samoa Joe, Hook, and Shibata initially make their way down to the ringside, to run off the heels, but initially things broke down as Brian Keith wasn't getting away, and Shibata was able to get him up into an armbar lock and stomp directly on his elbow to do some initial damage, as he sold it fairly well when it came to the build-up. When it came to initially what Samoa Joe's announcement was, Samoa Joe initially challenged him to a match at Forbidden Door, as he went the learning tree to take on initially Shibata, Hook, and Samoa Joe, which is going to be interesting and captivating to see how the learning tree does against this initial technical group. But we know it's going to be interesting just in general. But we know Jericho's not going to be a sleeper, and he's going to hold his own, as well as having his big man, Big Bill, in the wind of keeping things smooth and kind of keep the pace going. But we know it's going to be a great one. Samoa Joe is going to just run shot through them and choke them out and keep things cordial. Then we end up having Okada in singles action for the Continental Championship against Ultimo Guerrero. This match was a great display of seeing Ultimo Guerrero put on a display back and forth, the moves of technical wrestling between these two. But initially it was slow paced, and initially everything was smooth for what it was. But the initial conclusion happened when Okada took advantage of things as he took off Guerrero's mask and initially hit him with the Rainmaker to initially knock off his mask to pick up the victory for the 1-2-3. So it continues to keep him on the winning column of things for the Elite, and the Elite continue to look strong as all members initially are going to be having gold, as I can walk my words. I feel like Jack Perry's going to be initially a part of that TNT Championship ladder match, and he's going to be the TNT champion, and all the Elite is going to be holding all the gold by the end of the summer. Then we got ready for the tag team action, not tag team action, but more so we got a backstage interview of Lexi Nair talking with Top Flight. She congratulated Dante Martin for qualifying for the ladder match for the TNT Championship, and Leo Rush interrupts him and pretty much says he's going to be in that match as well. And you know, they initially had a face-to-face off to initially set up a singles match to see who's initially better between them two. But we know we're going to have a great showcase of a cruiserweight style match between Dante Martin and Leo Rush. Then we got ready to the nitty-gritty of the patriarchy and trios action as Christian Cage along with Kill Switch, and as well as, you know, Nick Wayne, Wayne's World, when it comes to everything initially broke down. This match was captivating as he took on the Iron Savages and Jack Jameson. This was a lot of back and forth when it came to trios action. You got everything that you actually wanted. Cage left the booth towards the end of the match, where pretty much Kill Switch and Nick Wayne took advantage of everything. Then Christian pick up a prone competitor, pretty much hit him with that lovely Kill Switch for the 1-2-3 and assert their dominance as they celebrated and left the stage from there. Then we have Toni Storm and Mariah May. You gotta love this showcase as they took on Layla Kirsch and Lady Frost. These ladies put on a great tag team match, a lot of back and forth, technical wrestling, chain wrestling. Initially, things ended up picking up the victory as Toni Storm was initially able to help Mariah May by hitting that lovely Storm Zero on Layla Hirsch. And Mariah May was able to pick up the victory as they initially posed with each other and celebrated their victory as being an initial tag team. This is initially a lead up towards initial tag team championships coming towards the AEW division. It'd be interesting to have a women's division tag team, but do you think it's way too many championships being displayed when it comes to AEW just in general? From my own personal opinion, I feel like the Ring of Honor titles need to stay in Ring of Honor, and the AEW championships need to stay on AEW. Just my own personal hot take. Then we have Serena Deeb in the backstage segment as she broke down everything as she initially was looking for a challenger, and they initially set it up for her to be against Ricardo Shida, who's initially making a return for Collision, as they initially be setting that match up in the near future. Then we had the House of Black and tag team action as they took on LSG and MSG, and Brody initially tagged in to get his marks in and just started his dominance and initially pick up the victory. Initially after everything initially broke down, then the announcer tried to catch up with House of Black as they was going up the stage, and they asked them initially about how things happened with Brody King and how they felt. Aleister Black initially said he don't care about it more than anything than Aleister Malachi. He initially said that's such a generic straight line answer from a human. And initially, Brody King said that revenge comes directly in a straight line, and we have no feelings when it comes towards it. And initially walked off from there. Then we have singles action of Matt Menard taking on Cesaro. This was a lot of back and forth, but this was a quick fixed match just to fill in the Saturday night's collusion. But initially, Cesaro ended up hitting modified Ring of Saturn to submit Matt Menard and take out Daddy Magic in the most passionate way. He sold it afterwards, leading up towards Forbidden Door of actually acting like his arm was initially was injured. And initially keeps a push towards MJF is going to have his hands tied when it comes to this Mexico luchador. Then we have a pre-tape segment with Jeff Jarrett, who's had a heartfelt segment talking about the Owen Hart tournament and how much it meant to him just in general. And initially, I got so emotional when it came to everything initially happened when it came to Jeff Jarrett. And I honestly would love to see him win the tournament, just how heartfelt it was and how close him and Owen initially was. But I look forward to seeing how initially everything initially break down in the tournament. Then we got ready for the main event of the night. It was Will Ospreay taking on Big Brian Cage. This is the set. This match was great. A lot of back and forth. Got everything initially wanted. I enjoyed everything that was captivating about this lovely main event. The fans were chanting, "This was awesome." It was a high drama, a lot of high spots. But the initial ending came when Will Ospreay hit that lovely hidden blade and got the victory to finish and conclude AEW Collision. But I enjoyed everything initially happened when it came to all these competitors. Will Ospreay continue to be in his own, but I also like to know where Don Callis stands when it comes to the situation, as well as the family, how they feel about Will Ospreay, or are they initially going to attack him and set up an initial feud in the near future. But as well as Brian Cage is still trying to find his soft spot as he continues to keep picking up losses. But Brian Cage is too great to be taking these L's like this. He's a dominant player, but I look forward to seeing where he folds when it comes to the Gates of Agony and initially them becoming a dominant stable just in general. But everybody else that's leading up to Forbidden, I loved how Mercedes Moné ended up coming directly down into Mexico and asserting her dominance, asserting off the TBS championship, as she ended up going down there to meet up with the New Japan Strong Style champion of the women's division. And things just broke down very quickly as they had a little shove off and a brawl out when it came to everything that she happened. And so many captivating stories, including Swerve and as well as Will Ospreay, and as well as leading up to so many of the great championship matches going to lead up to everything, as well as where the elite stand on everything against Team AEW, leading up to Blood and Guts, which we know is going to be a great steel cage match. But I look forward for all this initially to become great just in general. But I'd like to know from you guys' own personal opinion how you felt about everything. Post your comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Until then, y'all be safe. Peace.